Welcome to Informed Investor. I'm sure notifications on your phone and social media feeds are filled with updates regarding the US elections and how Donald Trump has been elected as the 47th president of the United States, painting a wave of red across the country. With the United States being the world's largest economy, its election result has sent ripples across global markets, and India is no exception. In this video, we will decode the possible impact of Trump winning and, more importantly, the impact on India and what it might mean for the future. Now, first things first, let's look at how the markets are holding up. On the back of Donald Trump's win, US stocks rallied sharply to close at record highs, with all major US indices like S&P 500 rising 2.5% and Dow Jones gaining by 3.5%. On the flip side, Indian markets reacted differently. While the markets rose by 1% yesterday, today the indices took a beating, with both Nifty and Sensex falling by 1% each. And if you look at other asset classes, gold declined more than 3% yesterday, its steepest decline since May, on the back of a sharp surge in the dollar, diminishing the appeal of metals for buyers. And again, on the flip side, Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, surpassed the $75,000 mark, hitting an all-time high on the back of Trump winning, who is seen as a pro-crypto candidate. Now let's quickly understand the impact of the Trump win on India. With Donald Trump returning to White House, two areas of policy making will have a direct impact: trade and fiscal policy. Talking about trade, India and the US share deep economic and strategic interests, and more importantly, India is strategically placed as a counterweight to China if looked from the perspective of a US foreign policy. And even if you look at history, India ran a trade surplus with the US over the years. In 2023, India had a trade surplus of $32 billion, and on an annualized basis, it is expected to cross $40 billion in 2024. And I'm sure you're aware about the services trade surplus as well. The US continues to be a major importer of Indian IT and BPO services to the tune of 54.92% of total software exports. However, Trump has vowed to revive his Make in America plan. This will entail him to impose tariff hikes like he imposed on China in 2018 and go multilateral in the tariff war in a bid to spur manufacturing in the US. But on the positive side, any frictions of trade will likely to be offset by the gains accruing to India from the ongoing supply chain shifts as de-risking from China gathers momentum under a Trump presidency. Now, moving to fiscal policy, Trump vowed to cut corporate taxes from the current 21% to 15%, leaving more money in the hands of corporations. According to Goldman Sachs, this is expected to boost S&P 500 earnings by about 4%. Apart from this, Trump has also encouraged a spending boost to support the economy. However, this would have a ripple effect on the US economy, as the government will generate less money through taxes and thereby put a burden on the fiscal deficit. This shall create its own challenges, as US sovereign debt is much higher today at 125% than it reached its peak of 120% back in 1943. Another impact would be the immigration laws. Trump's restrictive stance on immigration, especially the H-1B visa program, has historically impacted Indian professionals. Just to push some facts ahead of you, Indian nationals received the highest number of work visas, H-1B visas, from the US, accounting for over 72% of the total visas issued in fiscal year 23. Trump's campaign speeches mentioned strict immigration laws impacting Indian IT firms. In fact, recently, the US sharply increased the registration and application fees related to the H-1B visa. It is expected that Trump would push for stricter, broader measures and implement tougher immigration laws. Another notable impact is the rupee falling to record lows after Trump claimed victory. This is on the back of a sharp rise in the value of the dollar in comparison to the rupee. Another reason for the rupee falling was the rise in US bond yields, which rose to 4.242%. Elara Capital expects the 10-year yields possibly hitting the 5% mark in the next 3 months. Basically, rising US bond yields can lead to foreign investors withdrawing their investments from India and moving them back to the US, further putting pressure and weakening the rupee. Now lastly, let's talk about some Indian sectors to benefit. As we mentioned earlier about the corporate tax cuts, this would in turn benefit spending by US corporations. US companies could propel IT spending in the country, benefiting IT companies that significantly export IT and BPO services to the US. Another sector to benefit is the pharmaceutical sector. A weaker rupee and continued anti-China policies are also likely to benefit the Indian pharmaceutical sector. The defense sector is another that could expect higher collaboration between the US and India as India faces security issues in the Indo-Pacific region, which would propel greater partnerships in defense agreements. Lastly, high-growth sectors like artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and electronics manufacturing services will continue to be in focus. Now, in conclusion, Trump's return to the White House signals significant shifts across trade, fiscal policy, and immigration that could impact India's economy and key sectors. While the US market surge reflects optimism, India's response has been mixed as it navigates uncertainties in currency stability and foreign investment. Yet, opportunities remain in sectors like IT, pharmaceuticals, defense, and emerging technologies, which could benefit from the deepened US-India ties. Now, for a more detailed analysis of the US election results and what they mean for global markets, especially India, be sure to watch our upcoming Third Umpire video by my colleague Mullen Susanna. Now, having said that, this is me, Rahul Hassan, signing off. Have a great day and stay safe.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.